Welcome to The Metal Voice. Today on the show, the one, the only. I've waited maybe 35 years for this interview. Mr. Brad Gillis, the guitarist of Night Ranger. Brad, what's happening, man?
Hey, Jimmy, everything's good, man. You know, we're beginning to get a full dance card here with a lot going on, so we're gearing up for another great year.
Let's just go back in time, because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions about your history, and we'll build up right to the new album, your 12th album, called Don't Let Up.
Well, actually what happened, while Night Ranger was trying to get a record deal, I put together a band called the Alameda All-Stars in roughly 1980, and in 1982 I was playing around the Bay Area with this band, doing a lot of cover songs and just having a good time, because I was used to playing all the time. I saw Ozzy play in 1981 at the Day in the Green in Oakland, California with Randy, and I was pretty much blown away by Ozzy and Randy and the whole, those records coming out. So I was playing a couple songs from the Alameda All-Star set list, and I remember driving down the road in early 82 and hearing about the plane crash with Randy in it, and it pretty much freaked me out because basically my dad was a pilot, and I flew all the time. I was flying with my dad, and it just seemed like such a tragic loss, and I actually pulled over my truck at the time and thought, wow, this is pretty heavy. I just saw this guy play. So, sure enough, I was playing later that night and playing these Ozzy songs and did a little tribute to Randy. And there was a guy in the audience who saw me play, and his name was Preston Thrall. Now, Preston Thrall was Pat Thrall's brother. Of course, Pat Thrall played with Pat Travers and had Tommy Aldridge as a drummer back before Ozzy. So basically, Preston said, hey, man, do you want me to let them know that you possibly, might want to audition? I said, sure, but I thought, God, everybody's brother and the pro players that were out in the world would probably grab that gig. But Preston told Pat Thrall, and Pat Thrall told Tommy, and Tommy told Sharon, and sure enough, I got a call on that Sunday morning, 2 days later, and from Sharon and Ozzy, and woke me up early in the morning, and this lady on the phone says, hello, Bradley, this is Sharon Arden, Ozzy Osbourne's manager, and we'd like to fly you to New York for an audition. And I thought someone was screwing with me, and I said, come on, who is it? He goes, no, Bradley, it's Sharon. Let me put Ozzy on the phone. So I said, yeah, put Ozzy on the phone. So this guy gets on the phone and says, hello, Brad, grab a pen and paper, and we'd like to fly you to New York for an audition. Well, my father, being a pilot, when he would fly to the East Coast, I would hear a delay in the phone, and I heard that delay talking to Ozzy, and all of a sudden I freaked out, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is really Ozzy on the phone. And I grabbed a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm shaking, and he listed 18, 19 songs. I wrote them all down. On a Sunday morning, he said, Brad, you're going to fly you out on Tuesday. And I said, well, Ozzy, I only know about 3 or 4 of the songs. And he said, you might want to learn them. So I grabbed a couple friends of mine that had the Black Sabbath albums. Any music that I didn't have that was on that list, I got from friends that day on Sunday. Of course, back then it was albums, and I learned what I could on Sunday and Monday. And sure enough, I fly up to New York on that Tuesday with a one-way ticket and $150 in my pocket and no credit cards. And I'm thinking, wow, I hope this happens because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get home if it doesn't. Well, sure enough, I flew into New York, and actually they were playing at Madison Square Gardens that night with Bernie Torme, who was just kind of the intern guitar player until they replaced him. And I waited for them to get back to the hotel, and about midnight I got a call from their road manager, Larry McNeely, saying, hey, you might want to come up to the suite and meet everybody. So I went up and knocked on the door, and this big party going on, and Larry answers the door. I said, hi, I'm Brad. He goes, oh, hey, Larry, nice to meet you. Everything good? I said, Larry, when I got into town, there wasn't a reservation with my name on it, and I only had $150, and the room was $135, and I got $15 for my name in my pocket. That's the problem I'm having. So he whipped out 5 $100 bills and gave them to me. He goes, will this work? And I thought, yeah, that'll work. He said, come on in and meet Ozzy. So I walked in, and there was all these young guys hanging out, and all, around my age and older people, but, it seemed like a lot of guitar player looking guys. And I asked Larry, I said, how many of these guys are auditioning? He goes, oh, no, Brad, it's just you. And I thought, well, who are these other people? He goes, oh, they're all press, media, this and that. But it's just you, man. It's got me a little more nervous. And I thought, wow, kind of do or die, So we walked up to Ozzy, and Ozzy said, Larry introduced me, and Ozzy said, go get your guitar. And I said, well, Ozzy, I don't have an amplifier. He says, go get your guitar. I said, okay. So I went and got my, 62 red Strat that I played throughout my career, and came back to the room, and we walked up the stairs, these long stairwell. We went up to the in-house bedroom up top, and everybody's looking up at us like, oh, this is the big audition, right? And walked into the bedroom, and I sat on the end of the bed, and Ozzy sat in front of me, kneeling, legs crossed on the floor. He goes, what song you want to play? I said, well, let's do Flying High again. Well, it was crazy, I'm playing with no amplifier, and he's looking at me going, oh no, here we go. And I thought, well, this is wild, right? And after I got done with that big solo that Randy did, Ozzy stood up and gave me a big hug. He says, Brad, thank you, help me out, I love you. And I said, oh, I'll do whatever I can. And he walked out of the big door upstairs and looked down the crowd at the party in his penthouse and said, I've got a new guitar player. So the next thing you know, everybody's interviewing me and asking where I come from and who I am. And I ended up sitting on the road for about 4 days, and I practiced in my room with a live cassette that they gave me from a board mix from Randy in a boombox and with a little amplifier. And I learned the songs every day, and then I go to the show and watch the show. And I remember the first night going in and standing at the soundboard watching the show, I thought, with the big castle and all that stuff going on, sold out every night. And I thought, oh, my God, I'm going to be up there soon. And it really, kind of freaked me out. It was a very, very scary scenario that I was in. But, I did, rehearsed everything I could for 4 days. And on that fifth day, I told him I was ready, and he came up and did my first show.
Rudy Sarzo, in his book Off the Rails, he really congratulates you. He says the pressure you were under, how you kept it together and how you learned everything was incredible. But he also said there was also a somber mood in the band, right? Randy passed away. I mean, Ozzy's getting hostile towards you. At least that's what Randy said in his book. I guess because he's so upset because Randy died, right? Did you feel a lot of that?
Yeah, I felt there was a lot of pressure, not only from, the somber mood of the band and Ozzy, Rudy even told me that, that Ozzy told Rudy that, it's hard for me looking over and not seeing Randy next to me, and it was kind of hard for him to accept another guitar player. But, and the audience, so a lot of kids were flipping me off and arms crossed and checking me out, and it was a really tough scene for me. Playing these shows, but the first night I played, I got through most of the set till we got up to Revelation Mother Earth, which is a ballad that kicks in halfway through up tempo, and I screwed it up. I actually came into the fast part early, and I remember Ozzy looking over at me with these evil eyes like, you screwed up, and I stopped playing. I thought, man, I screwed up. Then I got my composure, and I got my way back into the song, and I finished out the song and the rest of the set. And I'll never forget, because everybody said, Brad, you're doing a great job, hang in there, you'll be fine. And the next night on the second show, Sheridan comes up and says, Bradley, you're doing a great job, but tonight, don't screw up.
Yeah.
So kind of, okay.
But Brad.
I kind of got myself together for the next couple of weeks, and then 2 weeks into the tour, we did the King Biscuit Flower Hour live broadcast throughout the States. In Memphis, Tennessee, and after that live broadcast, when everybody heard it, all of a sudden I started getting a little love from people, and everybody kind of lightened up, and I kind of eased into the gig.
That's nice. But I mean, was there a sense of Ozzy is picking on me or bullying me or because of Randy's death?
No, he never really picked on me. It was all good. He really actually encouraged me, and
nice.
Was glad I was helping him out and pulling him through this tour. The only problem, it seemed to me, is towards the end of the tour, after we recorded the Speak of the Devil record, Rudy decided to leave and quit and go to Quiet Riot, and I had an offer if I quit Ozzy to come back to Night Ranger that had a pending record deal if I were to rejoin Night Ranger. And then Ozzy started getting, a little defensive toward me, and it got kind of weird and rough. But, I rolled the dice and I left and came with Night Ranger, and sure enough, we got our record deal, and MTV just came out, and next thing you know, I'm out with Night Ranger kicking butt, and actually, which was kind of a crazy thing, is in October '82, the Speak of the Devil record and Night Ranger's first record, Dawn Patrol, were released the same week in October 1982.
Crazy, isn't
it? That
it?
was kind of exciting for me. I had two, albums that came out that were getting airplay and a lot of attraction with media.
Is there any regret you would have done just maybe one Ozzy record?
Yeah, I thought about that, but I got to tell you, of Ozzy touring right after Randy's death, a couple weeks later, getting back into it, this whole 7-8 months of touring, he needed to take a break. I had something ready to go with these guys back here in the San Francisco Bay Area that I spent a couple of years with getting this record together that were my good buddies, and I just felt more comfortable coming back with Night Ranger. And, I didn't know the situation with Ozzy. I didn't know if he'd even keep me on after. And I thought, well, I don't want to lose out on a record deal with Night Ranger and have Ozzy move on with somebody else and be dead in the water. So I rolled the dice, and next thing you know, here I am with the same band, Night Ranger, 35 years later, releasing a new record and touring all over the country, going to Japan here pretty soon, and the machine rolls on.
If he ever called you up, would you take him up on his offer today, Ozzy Osbourne?
Well, yeah, I'd be sure. I'd go in and do a record with no problem. The problem being that Night Ranger is my top priority.
Oh, understood.
17 million records and 60 to 90 dates a year and 35 years, that cannot be denied. You got to realize Ozzy's been through 5 or 6 guitar players since I left the band.
Yes.
So, I kind of like the idea that I'm with a band that has, longevity.
On the last question on the Speak of the Devil, Max Norman, I think he said something like, yeah, most of the album was recorded live, but because time was cut short, we took a couple of tracks from the rehearsals. And he doesn't really specify which tracks. I mean, did you know anything about this?
Well, I don't know, because back then, there wasn't any media going on with people filming and stuff and this and that. But, I don't remember doing full, on sound check songs. The story I heard was, since we did 2 nights at the Ritz in New York, that they just picked out the best performance from either night to put on the Speak the Devil CD.
Okay, let's go into Night Ranger. Don't Tell Me You Love Me, big hit. Then Sister Christian, the massive hit. At what point did you ever say to yourself, guys, let's be a little more metal? I'm sure the record company was pushing you in the sort of the ballad direction.
I came from a rock and roll hard rock background, but Don't Tell Me You Love Me first singles and Sing Me Away, but then we got Still Rockin' America. But when we released Sister Christian, it was such a massive hit that the record company felt like, well, this is their niche. So they ended up releasing ballad after ballad after that, and it was really tough for us because we really had no say on what they released. Basically, record companies release what they want, whether you like it or not. So we kind of fell into that pigeonhole of being a ballad band, which really killed the band. And by 1989, it got to the point where we were all kind of tired of it all. Touring 200 plus shows a year, ballad after ballad, we saw our audience dwindling. We were losing our male audience, our hard rockers, and that's when we decided to break up. So breaking up in '89, basically we just needed a break. When you spend early 1983 through 1989 touring solid, you got to realize we're touring 9 months out of the year, then been going in and doing a record, so there was no time off. Everybody just needed a breather. So we all took a little breather, and everybody did their other projects. But then we got back together in late 95, early 96, because the Japanese offered us a record deal and a tour if we got the original band back together. So that's what we did, and that's when it started moving again, and we've been together ever since.
A question from Bruce. What was the process for you writing your guitar bit for Hearing Aid, the Ronnie James Dio song Stars?
Process, I mean, those guys wrote the song. I had nothing to do with writing the song. I actually just came in with all the other guitar players to play solos on the record. And it was kind of cool just hanging out with, Yngwie and Neil Sean's and George Lynch's and everybody involved with that. But my whole take on it, there were so many great players just wearing away, going crazy on guitar, that I just decided to do what do my own style and put my tremolo and harmonics and stuff on the solo and just try to stand out and be different. And I guess it works because everybody I talked to says, I can totally tell it's you on that solo and good job. So it was a blast doing that, hooking up with everybody there, and it was for a great cause.
So there you have it. Don't Let Up, the 12th album by Night Ranger. I heard it, and it really brings back a lot of the Midnight Madness, Dawn Patrol, and I think that's the sound you're after, and Mission Accomplished. Great album. Go pick it up. Like I said, the 12th album, Don't Let Up. I guess when is it going to be released, Brad?
It'll be released on the 24th of March, here in like 10 days.
Perfect. Thank you for being a guest on The Metal Voice. Hopefully next time we can have a longer interview and go more in-depth.
You got it, Jimmy. All right, buddy. Thanks, man. I will talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.